Hello friends, in last session we had a discussion regarding the features of Java. There we discuss about platform independency, multi-threading, complete object oriented, GUI supportive, database supportive and all. And then we discussed programs using how to input a data using scanner. Scanner was the class belongs to the package called as java.util. Right? Now in today's session, before going for after understanding the features of Java, why Java is so popular in the developers community, because of its platform independency and open source, means it can run on any platform, and worldwide developers community contributing for the development of a Java, and hence Java is a most popular, I can say, the programming language. Now, first of all, in today's sessions we will be discussing about data input techniques. As you know that to resolve any problem or to convert any problem into the solutions, we have to go through the phases for problem solving. First phase is to understand the problem. Right? The second phase will be design the solution. Third step will be develop an algorithm. The fourth step will be implement the code. And then test, debug it, and the final one is deploy. Phases for problem solving, or you can say project development. Now, what is the difference between your problem and project? Project may be the collection of many problems. Or to develop a complete software, I'll be developing the project, and problems means small chunks of the problems. So now basically right now the category of discussions is related to the problems, small problems, so small questions we are seeking for the answers. So the first approach is understand the problem. Second is design the solution. Now in the design solutions means instead of directly going for the coding, we guys need to draw the flow chart, draw the sequence, right? Because without having any planning or designing or the proper algorithm, you can't directly go for the coding. So first of all, design the solutions, develop an algorithm. Algorithm means algebraic rhythm. Algorithm is abbreviated for algebraic rhythm. So you have to build a sequence, right? Step number 1, step number 2, likewise from the start to end you have to build a sequence. And while writing that algorithm, you have to use a generic language. You have to use a generic language, means algorithm should be the generic, means you can able to code that sequence in any language. And then finally, whichever the language you prefer, whether it's a Java, .NET, C# or Android or whatever, you implement that code accordingly. And then dry run it or test or debug it, and then finally, if everything is perfect as per the design, as per the objectives, then you can deploy that. So these are the phases I am explaining related to the problem solving. Today I am going to focus about the data input techniques. Means like in Java, what are the possible ways to input the data? Ways to feed the data. First we already discussed, that is about the scanner class. Scanner belongs to the package called as java.util, right? And it provides the methods like next int for the integer, then you have the method like next for string. Obviously you have a next float, next double, and likewise, right? So as per the type of data we are planning to input, scanner provides you the method. Now in today's sessions I am going to discuss about the another input technique that is called as buffer reader. Buffer reader. Now buffer is a class, belongs to java.io. IO stands for input output and util stands for utility. Now first of all we need to understand what is the difference between scanner and buffer reader. Right? So to understand the difference, just like whatever data you will, because actually you are reading data from the user and assigning to the variable, whatever input you will do in scanner, that will be directly assigned to the variable. It means what? Input will be directly passed on to the variable. Now in such situations, like now input unit and actually variable are the memory referentials. So your input device has processing speed and the memory management speed, right? As these are the two units, if it is not synchronized, let us assume that if you input it quite faster and the memory is not available or not in a position to accept the data, in such situations you will find that chances of data lost are more. As you know, if you feed the data and that data is not assigned to the variable, or that variable is not in a position to accept that data, receive that data, then in such situations, in case of scanner, there may be chances of data lost will be more. So what they recommend, they'll go with the buffer reader. Now what is this buffer means? Whatever the input you will do, that inputted data will not directly assign to the variable. It goes to the temp memory. Temp memory is called as buffer memory or cache memory, right? And then it goes to the variable, right? It means like if you are inputting a data from more speed, right? Or if the memory is not available or it is not in a position to accept the data, till then that data goes to the cache memory, the data goes to temporary memory, and then whenever that memory comes in a position to read the data, it will assign to the variable. So it's a safe way to feed the data. What is that safest way? Input the data, goes to the memory, and that is called the cache buffered memory, and then it go to the variable over there. So in this way, buffer reader have an advantage over scanner. Scanner gets the input and directly assigned to the variable. I explain you the limitations. that sometimes, as there are two units, let us understand, if you are two persons are practicing of catching ball. Now one person throws the ball, another has to catch. But if one person throws the ball and other person is not in a position to catch that ball, or he get distracted to view somewhere, or he is not in a correct concentrating or focusing on the catching the ball, what will happen? He cannot able to catch the ball. That ball maybe hit his head or fall down. But like that operation of catching is not possible. So in such situations, if these two persons want to catch the ball better, and anyone is not in a proper position to catch, then what he have to do? He have to he will throw the ball. First person will throw the ball. That ball will goes to the buffer memory, and whenever the second person is ready to catch the ball, then that will be assigned back to him again. So this is I believe the safest way of doing it. Anyway, so in case of scanner and in case of buffer, the same difference is there. Buffer is actually reading the data using buffer memory, cache memory, and then it will assign to the variable over there, right? Okay. So let us discuss firstly the data input technique using buffer reader, because scanner we already discussed about, right? Let's go through one example. Demonstrating buffer reader. Now, as I explained you that your input java.lang.star, it's a package you are importing. So that package is a collection of classes. So whatever the classes you are planning to use in the code, you have to you have to write for it, right? So java.lang means all the core classes like the system and all, right? These all like system, integer and all, these all classes are actually belongs to java.lang. So you have to import that. Just like it is as good as like hash include stdio, hash include conio. Now here in this case, it won't provide you the public functions. It is a collection of classes. So the related classes they wrote in a package and then provide you, right? Then as I said, as I am demonstrating the buffer reader, import java.io.star. Now io.star is provides with the buffer reader class. Okay. I'll be writing a code for demo buffer. Is a code I am writing by the name demo buffer. Now actually the class is buffer reader, buffered reader. Create the object of buffer reader br equal to new buffer reader. Now buffer is a memory, so means we are actually reading the data from the buffer. But to read the data from the buffer, we have to input the data. So you pass on the constructor of buffer reader, you pass on input stream reader object, input stream reader object as an argument, and to the it creates the anonymous object of input stream reader, and then you can go for the system.in, right? If you want to make it simplified, you can do one thing: input stream reader IP equals to new input stream reader system.in. Means you firstly create the object of input stream reader, and then that input stream reader object you pass on to the buffer header, right? And then let's say system.out.println, enter name. If you are inputting name, then name you will hold in the string variable, string name equals to br.readline, right? Just understand the point that first of all, system.in means system's input will make an input, and then using that input will be goes to the input stream reader, and then that will be assigned to the buffer reader, right? System input stream reader, and then buffer means now that data is actually stored in the buffer now, and then you are reading the data from the buffer and assigning to the variable, right? Now this buffer reader will provide you only one method called as read line. It will read the data in the line by line over there. And the second is, let's say if I am putting enter age, then as I said, it's only because that all the data is available in the buffer. So while reading the data, only one type of data reading is possible, that is it will read the data in the string format only, right? Because whether it's an integer, float, string, or any type of data that goes in the memory, and in memory it has to, the entire data will be available in the zeros and one format, right? So whether it's an integer, whether it's everything will be converted into the digital code. So buffer reader provides you only one method, and that method is called as a read line, right? And now the question is, if you want to enter the age, it has to be the numeric type of data. So br.read line, we read the data in the string format, and we are planning to assign to the integer. So it has to be, firstly we need to parse it, we need to convert it. So for that reason, in integer class, integer dot, there is a method called as parse int, parse into integer, and then is read the data in the string format from the buffer means temporary memory, parse it, convert it, parse means conversion to integer, and then assign to integer variable. So in this manner, now you have two type of values, name and age. Now just I just want to add one point over there. As this buffer reader is dealing with the memory, right, it will throw the exceptions. Exceptions means runtime logical bug. I'll be discuss about the exceptions in the coming sessions about the exception handling. But first of all, right here in this case, as I am directly, means you cannot directly try the methods like a read line, right? As it is throwing an exception, so you have to put this entire code in the try catch block, so that if any runtime bugs occur, then your system will trap it, right? So try catch block, right? This is the code for handling the exceptions. Now this entire code, what you wrote for reading the data from the buffer, you paste it inside try catch block. Why I am doing it? Because buffer reader actually dealing with the memory, so it may throw the exception. Exception means like memory is not available, memory is insufficient, right? So in such situations, it develop the exception, runtime logical bug, and terminate the code over there. So to avoid that abnormal terminations, we have a exception handling. So try and catch, as I said, you are trying a buffer reader methods over there, so it throws an exception, and that exception is called as IO exception. So if any exception occurred, any runtime logical bug occurred, it develops an object of IO exception. IO exception is a predefined exceptions. So I will create the object of it, and to trap that exception, so I am having a method called as ioe.print stack trace. It will print the entire stack operation about that particular exception. And if apart from IO exception, if any exception occurred, then it will be cached by the exception class. Exception class is on the top of the hierarchy of the exceptions. As I said, I am giving some direct references about the exceptions without explaining you the detail of exceptions. But as this topic is related to the data input techniques. So I'll be firstly focusing on the data input techniques, and regarding the exceptions, regarding what is print stack test method will do, what is catch, what is try, and what are the various type of exceptions, that I'll be discussing in the separate session. So I don't have any other choices rather than discussing exceptions, because if you are using a buffer reader, it has to be trap the exceptions called as IO exceptions, right? Print stack test. Now here I read the data from the user, right? And then br.readline provide you the method to read the data from the buffer. If it is integer or any float, obviously if you are reading the float type of data, then float.parsefloat, you have to use it over there. So I read successfully the name and age, so I can try system.out.println name, the name value, and name and age, the value of age, and here it is here end of try, here it's a year end of main, and here it's a end of class. Now basically while writing the code, you have to own that code. Means like every line what you are writing, you should be able to understand in that, and you have to, that's why I am practicing this all the things on the Edit Plus. Means like you should know each and every line. You know, as a beginner programmer, you need to make a practice of developing bug-free code. Means like whatever the code you will write, instead of hurrying for the compilation, you read the code again and again, right? Try to recollect the things well, and then you can able to code it. It means like if you set for the compilations, just try and understand that machines are not going to help for the coding. Machines are used to just test the developed code. So developer has to focus on all the coding and the statements and syntax as everything, right? Anyway, let's discuss let's go through the entire code what we developed till now. Import java.lang.star, import java.io. I already explained that. Buffered reader is a class, actually belongs to java.io. I am developing a class called as demo buffer. Public static void main array of strings, I already explained to you, and here is the try catch block. Why we need a try catch block? Because we are testing methods of a buffer reader, and buffer reader actually related to the memory, so it throws an exceptions, and that exception is called as IO exception. Now try to understand this IO exception, exceptions, this read symbols what you are getting in the Edit Plus. No, that's why I am recommending Edit Plus even, because it is you can able to distinguish between the class name and method name as well, right? Because in Notepad everything is in black, so it won't give you the enough hints regarding which is the class and which is the method and all, right? Okay, so this Edit Plus also suits you and also give you the better way to write the code over there. So we are trapping the IO exceptions, we are trapping the exceptions, right? And then first of all, here I what discuss, because the whatever the input you will do, that input actually goes to the buffer, and then from that buffer you have to read it to give the safer way of inputting data, building it. So you need to firstly create the object of input stream reader IP equals to new input stream reader system.in, and then this input stream reader's data object you have to pass it on as a argument to the buffer reader, and then you have to read the name and age and all, right? Let's test this. As your Java project need to be saved by the same name, which same name of a class which consists the main method. So you have to save it. You can create any folder over there. We have a Java test. Okay, fine. Java test and save it. demo buffer.java. You create a folder somewhere to record this or to store these all the tested codes. As a developer, I should have all the time the demo codes are available. So I switch to the folder called as Java test. It is the D, and then I will use javac demo buffer.java. Okay, focusing. Cannot find the symbol name. Okay, actually it might be nm, not yeah. The variable is nm, not name. Okay, and then you debug it again. Now it's successfully compiled, and then you run the code Java demo buffer, and if you hit enter, it will ask you enter a name. I am entering Axiom, age is 40, so it gives you the output, means it input and output is possible. But this yesterday or in the last session we already tested this code using the scanner, but now today's agenda is to find out the different mechanism of data input technique, that is the buffer reader, right? As I already explained you that buffer reader having advantage over scanner, because scanner inputs the data and directly assign to the variables, and if any synchronization speed or the memory availability is not available for allocating variables, then data may get lost. The chances of data loss will be higher in case of scanner. And in case of buffer, as we are dealing with the buffer or cache memory, so whatever the inputs you will do, that inputs will actually goes to the temporary memory, buffer memory, and then you will be assigned to it. But while implementing buffer reader, as we have to deal with the try catch block, and it's compulsory because Java will not allow you if any exceptions are there. If the library you're providing by the Java, if it throws an exceptions, then you need to compulsory able to put it in the try catch block, and that's why sometimes people are not using this buffer reader for the input, and scanner is more popular. But like as I said, to avoid to achieve the excellency, or if you have a like safest way of writing the code, then I believe buffer reader is more important than the or having extra advantage over the scanner. So input stream reader IP equal to new input stream reader system.in. You successfully compile. Now compile and run it over there and get the name and age. Now instead of creating this object and then pass out the object over there, you comment it. Let's make a comment this statement, and why not you pass on the anonymous object new input stream reader system.in. means there is no system.in. There is no point to create the object of this input stream reader, right? So the final syntax is buffer reader br equal to new buffer reader. In the constructor of buffer reader, you pass on new input stream reader system.in. So first of all, new input stream reader system.in will read the data from the user, and then that data will be assigned to buffer. And what this buffer is going to provide you? It provides the method called as readline. As only because in case of scanner we have a different methods for different type of data. For integer we have a next integer, for a float we have a next float, we have a next for the string and all. Here in this case only one method is there, that is called as readline. And this readline method, as you are reading the data from the buffer, it will throws an exceptions called as IO exceptions, and that's why wherever you are reading the data from the buffer, you need to handle that exceptions called as IO exceptions, and then you can write the code over there. Right? Hope you understand it. Okay. Now we discussed about the buffer reader, the safest way of dealing the data. Now the third data input technique is called as command line arguments. Command line argument means actually inputting data from command line, right? I'll explain this. Now, as you know that in case of Java, if you observe the main method well, that is public static void main and array of string, right? This array of string means main is always parameterized. Main is always parameterized in Java. Now why we have a parameterized main, right? If you don't want to input the data using scanner or buffer, you can input the data, because main gets a call from this command prompt, because just like Java demo buffer, right? Means whenever you write Java demo buffer, actually it gives a call to the main of this demo buffer class, right? So means main get a call from command line. So if you have a parameterized main, right, so you can input the data from here only. You can input the data from command line only. Means if you run the application, then for getting input from the user, the application get halted. Like enter name, you want to input the name, then enter age, you want to input the age. So instead of inputting the data at the runtime, why not you directly feed the data? Means after executions, you are halting the sequence of executions and then inputting data, rather than that if you input the data from here only, right? Just like Axiom and 14, if you input data from here only, that data will be assigned to this array of string of a parameterized, and then you can use it in the code. Let's have a demonstration of this. You understand my point? Command line argument means inputting data from the command line, right? And this is the way how you can input the data to the. Okay, so let us discuss one example related to the command line input over there. Hope you got the things right. Command line input means inputting data from the compilation area or from the command line. I'll demonstrate this by giving one good example to you. I'll be producing one code, demo command line input. Now here I require only import java.lang, as I am not using scanner neither buffer reader for inputting. My class will be demo command line. Now as I just recently explained that whatever the input you will do, that input will be directly goes to the array of string, and then that data you are using in the code over there. Let us say command line input, you write the code, read friend's name to print it on screen. Now I'll say read n friend's name, any number of friend's name you can input to print it on the screen, right? So if you, let's say if you input n number of friends name from the command line, that entire things will be cumulative. Means first friend's name will be cumulated in the array of strings. So first friend's name will be stored in the args0, second friend's name will be args1, args2, likewise, right? So what I can do over there, I'll print the things. I'll first of all system.out.println data feed from command line, right? If args.length. Now try and understand args and array. Args is not a keyword, string is a keyword. Args is not a keyword. You can even go with the args stand for arguments, right? So if you can go with the ABCD, that hardly matters. It means you need to have a array of string as a parameter to the main. So this array dot length, there is a dot length is a property in array, property of an array. if array dot length equal to 0. Now array length is 0 means you haven't fed any input from the command line. So obviously your code will not process any data. So you can prompt the user system dot out dot println no data input from command line, no data input from command line, and hence system dot exit 1, exit from code, right? You exit from the code over there, because if there is no data input, then what you can process. So system provides a method called as exit, and one is a status on. Now if args.length is 0, then no input is there, hence you terminate the applications. You can say the better word is exit from code, in the sense terminate an application, right? And then you can set a loop like for integer I equals to 0. As you are dealing with an array means set of similar type of data. So whatever the data inputs you will do from the command line, that all the input will be assigned to an array, right? So for integer I equals to 0, I less than args dot length I plus plus, and then system dot out dot println, right? Here you can say args. I'll firstly args of I, args of I, you are printing it over there, right? So whatever the inputs you will do separated by blank space will be assigned to the array of string, and here that array means set. So here is a loop which varies from 0 to array length. It will read the entire array elements one by one manner from the 0 to array length and able to print it over there. Let's test this code. Demo command line. Demo command line .java, and then Java demo command line .java, Java demo command line Java. Here you compile the code successfully, then Java, you run the code, command line Java demo command line. If you run the code and hit enter, now here this can give you the error in the sense like data feed from the command line is no data input from the command line. So as you haven't fed any data, the array length becomes 0. So no data input from the command line, and exit of the, and it terminate the applications. But if you feed the data like Java demo command line, let's say your friends names are AA space BB CC DD EE FF, just like I'm going for demonstrating reason. Now look at this. Once I feed the data from the command line, right, that entire data separated by blank space will assign to the array of string, right? And this array list I am printing over here. Now here I directly print the array subscript over here. If you do it like this, like args of I, yesterday I explained you how to concat this, that plus operator used for concatenation reasons. So you save it args I and args I. So here it will print args subscript and the actual value stored in the args of I. You save it and recompile it again. Now look here, args 0 equal to AA, args 1 equals to BB, args 2 equal to CC, args 3 equal to DD, args 4 equal to likewise, right? Means this is your command line input. Means there are up till now we discuss about three techniques. Scanner and buffer input actually get the data from the user, but what is the what is the functionality of them? They halt the program execution. They halt the program execution, and then inputted data will be assigned to the variable and then processed further. Now here in Java we have another data input techniques called as command line. Why not instead of halting the program executions, why not feed the data at once? And that entire data will be assigned to an array of integers, and then you cross check whether the length of an array, because in Java we have a dot length property to check the length of an array. If no input is there, it means array length is 0, and if array length is more than 0, obviously you can able to print that data over there, right? Okay, so now this is what the three major data input techniques used in Java. Now, as I already explained you about how to parse the data, let's say input integer dot parse integer, right? It will parse the data to the integer. So obviously here if you have a string type of data like 1 2 3, you can parse to the integer. If you can use a buffer.readline, you can parse to this thing. You have, if you want to parse to float, then float dot parse float, right? Now here if you have a args 1 2, because actually again means like here just understand the code. Main is array of string. Now string is generic type of data. Just try and understand one point, right? String is generic in the sense, to string you can assign the integer, you can assign the float, you can assign the double, you can assign the character, and you can assign the string even. Now to integer variable you cannot assign the string, right? So that is why in case of even buffer reader, read the data in the format of string, because memory may constitute the data in the format of integer, float, double, or whatever. Everything can be assigned to string. So string is a generic type of data type. Any type of data you can able to assign. Why I am saying generic? Because any type of data you can able to assign to the string over there. And in the similar manner, in case of parameterized main and in case of command line argument also, whatever the data input you will do from the command line, it will be assigning to the array of string. So because like in a command line argument you can't say that input will be only integer, input will be only float, so you can able to assign any type of data. So in case of buffer or read line, or even in case of your command line arguments, the inputted data will be assigned to the array of strings over there. Hope you got the things clear. Now as my agenda for today's session will be reading the data from the user and what are the various data input techniques in Java. There are three major data input techniques what we discussed up till now, and the data input techniques are your first of all is your scanner, the second is your buffer reader, and the third one is your command line argument, right? So I hope you understand everything well. So I'll be mailing you the assignment list with this particular video sessions. So thank you and enjoy the sessions.